You're watching WHSV News 3. 11 minutes of nonstop news and weather starts right now.
Lance Armstrong facing another legal battle. Good evening, everyone. I'm Deon Guillory.
And I'm Allison Brunner. We start with that breaking news. The government officially filed a case against Armstrong and his company. According to the complaint, Armstrong's use of forbidden drugs breached a contract he had with the U.S. Postal Service. Earlier this year, Armstrong admitted to using performance-enhancing drugs during his time as a cyclist.
We're also following more breaking news. Charges have just been dropped against the Mississippi man accused of sending letters with ricin to President Obama and other lawmakers. This comes hours after Paul Kevin Curtis was released from custody. A court document shows the ongoing investigation has revealed new information. Investigators are looking to see if someone may have tried to falsely implicate Curtis in the crime. He says he just wants to move forward.
This past week has been a nightmare for myself and my family. My mother has suffered, as well as my children. I would like to get back to normal, which for me means being the best father that I can be to my children.
The FBI searched another man's home. He has not been charged. Now to a TV3 exclusive. A man living in one Harrisonburg neighborhood upset after downed cable lines near his home have been sitting for months.
WHSC's Stephanie Escobar investigated which company is responsible for the wires. It's a story you'll only see on 3.
Allison, the lines have been down since a dump truck knocked them down in February. I discovered the lines belong to Comcast, and I got some answers.
For nearly 2 months, you could see cables hanging loose near the intersection of Vine Street and Old Furnace Road. The wires came loose after a dump truck with its bed raised knocked them down in February.
We had made at least 3 trips to the Comcast office here in town, and promises were made that they were going to take care of something and for us, and they didn't.
That's why Ernest Smith posted this sign that reads, "Comcast, the cables have been hanging down for 8+ weeks. Why don't you finish your work?"
How long would it gone on if nothing was done today, as it has been?
Comcast sent crews after I contacted them. An employee also sent a statement that reads, "A team of technicians has been to the site to reposition a temporary line that had been placed at the location so we could continue to serve our customers as we perform ongoing repair work after a vehicle damaged our fiber line. We apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused."
When it came time to mow the grass, you couldn't do that without moving cables from one place to another.
And an eyesore.
The other cables dangling from pole to pole, it's made an untidy site.
Smith says he's relieved it's fixed.
It may have been insignificant to them, but it needed to be done.
Staff at Comcast thanked me for bringing the problem to their attention. They could not confirm Smith filed complaints at a local store. Deon?
Great work there. New at 11, the Harrisonburg City Council is one step closer tonight to approving its city's new budget. At tonight's meeting, council members decided to hold off on voting so they could have a work session. That will be May 1st. If approved, the new budget would increase real estate taxes, water and sewer bills. The council plans to vote on it on May 14th.
Now to a consumer alert. Your online shopping could get more expensive very soon. A bill moving through Congress aims to collect billions in taxes on internet purchases. Opponents of the proposal say it would amount to a tax hike that would cost consumers as much as $23 billion per year and burden smaller online businesses. Supporters say online retailers have an unfair advantage. Nearly every state, including Virginia, says the extra money is needed because sagging budgets caused the Great Recession. Senator Mark Warner is for the legislation, saying, quote, "Part of the solution, though, anticipates revenue from this legislation. So if we're going to be able to solve the transportation crisis that confronts not just Northern Virginia, but all of Virginia, Virginia's got to have the ability to collect all of its sales tax revenue."
Right now, the search is on for the 4th man accused of hazing, leading to 2 college students drowning. One is still missing tonight. Chesterfield police have charged Corey Baytop, Eric Benson, and James Mackey with hazing. You see their pictures on your screen. The cops are still looking for Charles Zollicoffer II. The foursome is accused of hazing Marvell Edmondson and Jawan Holmes. The two went missing in the Appomattox River over the weekend. Edmondson's body was found yesterday. There's still no sign tonight of Holmes. New details tonight in the Boston bombings investigation. Police start to get some answers from the surviving suspect.
This as the city says goodbye to another victim. Marcy Gonzalez is in Boston with what's happening right now.
For the first time since tragedy took over Boylston Street, some residents and business owners were allowed to return today, a step towards some level of normalcy near the site of last Monday's deadly Boston Marathon bombings.
As normal as we can get right now, so it's still going to be a little eerie, I feel like, on these streets.
The surviving suspect, 19-year-old Johar Sarnayev, charged last night at his hospital bedside, telling the FBI he and his now deceased brother Tamerlan were motivated by religion, but have no ties to terrorist groups, explaining they plotted the attack on their own using the internet. The FBI is still trying to learn who Tamerlan met with during his trip to Russia last year, as federal officials now say they were aware of his travels.
The system pinged when he was leaving the United States.
The FBI is hoping to learn even more from Tamerlan's widow, Catherine Russell. Her attorneys say she and her family are cooperating with the investigation.
The reports of involvement by her husband and brother-in-law came as an absolute shock to them all.
And for two families whose bitter shock turned to unimaginable grief, today was a day of final goodbyes. The youngest victim of the bombings, 8-year-old Martin Richard, laid to rest this morning, as was Sean Collier. The MIT officer police say was shot to death by the Tsarnaev brothers Thursday night.
And Vice President Joe Biden is expected to travel to MIT for a memorial service honoring Officer Collier tomorrow. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Boston.
And this just in, the suspect's mother says she does not plan to travel to the U.S. to bury her son or see the surviving one. We've also just learned that she has an outstanding arrest warrant after she missed a court appearance in October, stemming from a shoplifting case. A Valley Company's product was used while police arrested the bombing suspect last week. TSSI in Harrisonburg has been making assault medical backpacks for years. The owner of the company says he's glad the pack could help first responders in Boston.
A follow-up tonight on a story we first told you about last night at 11. A former D.C. private school teacher wanted by the feds on porn charges is in jail tonight without bond. Eric Toth was arrested in Nicaragua. The FBI says a tip led them to the man. He had been living in that country since October. Toth will be held without bond until his next hearing.
New details tonight on a VDOT project on Interstate 64 at Afton Mountain. The agency is asking for drivers to be patient. VDOT is using bulldozers to remove some unstable soil to reduce the risk of landslides. This project will continue through Thursday, so if you're headed over Afton Mountain, take Route 250 instead.
You better do that soon.
Yes.
Right now, St. Louis still looking soggy. Take a look at these pictures. You see major flooding throughout the downtown area. City leaders say there have been no levee breaks today. The National Weather Service is calling for the Missouri River to drop below flood stage by this weekend.
Now your first alert storm team forecast with Chief Meteorologist George Hirschman.
Pretty nice night to go out and maybe count a couple stars. Some clear skies here and there, but some clouds are building in, looking really for some partly cloudy skies overnight. Satellite radar showing it this way. I-81 corridor, not too bad. A few clouds to the west. We had some clouds earlier, looking for those to build back in, especially as we move into sunrise hours tomorrow. Outside the building, it is 53 degrees. Partly cloudy skies, we're calling it. Southeast winds about 6 miles per hour, and temperatures around the area is called in by the weather watchers. Well, not too bad there either. Looks like the kind of night you leave the window open just a little bit. Some nice fresh air to sleep by. 49 Franklin, 48 with Cool Eddie in Timberville. 52s in 10th Legion, Waynesboro, 51 Stanton, and then upper 40s as we look at Woodstock, Mount Jackson, Luray. Tom called it 48, 49 with Carl in Stanley. So not terrible night at all. Looking the temperatures to drop a few more degrees into the mid-40s for your overnight lows. We look at the forecast map about midnight, and a couple of clouds around that time, and cool. I'm calling it cool for mid-40s. I think kind of a mild night out there. Certainly not a cold night. As we go through the night, not too bad. We get some sunshine to get started tomorrow. It will be a warm day. And as we get to the afternoon hours, I think 4 or 5, we'll see those winds starting to pick up a bit. Frontal system's getting a little bit closer, and then really kicking up as we get into tomorrow night. Not much as far as rainfall around noontime, kind of hanging up around the Mason-Dixon line. But 7 o'clock, that's when we're looking for that frontal system to move through, and some showers accompanying it, yes, along with maybe a thunderstorm here or there. A tenth, maybe a quarter of an inch of rain tomorrow. That's not too bad. Could be a little heavier if it's a thunderstorm cell that moves through your area. But all in all, mild as far as the accumulation is concerned. Once that frontal system moves through, then the air temperature is certainly going to drop a little bit, and then we'll get some clearing for tomorrow night. It looks like a pretty good day for Thursday. I wanted to show you this. Nice trough right in the middle of the country there. You get that big bump there down around Dallas, 46, 29 in Denver, 38 up Minneapolis way. Not too bad in our neighborhood. Pretty easy to pick out the frontal system right about there, folks. That's the one that's going to move through, bring some showers with it, and also some cooler air once it does make it through. So for tonight, we're looking mid-40s, mid-40s to the west as well. Pretty uniform there. Like I say, a good night to open the windows a little bit. Tomorrow into the mid-70s here in the valley, lower 70s as we move over to the west in the highlands, and a chance for some showers, maybe a thunderstorm through the day. And then the next 7 days, well, tomorrow we're looking at 75, 62 on Thursday. See, that's where we get that air behind the frontal system, cools off a bit. As we move into Friday, you see some sunshine come our way. And the weekend, well, we're pretty much back to about where temperature should be for this time of the year. So it looks like a good weekend with a little shower activity here, there, elsewhere. I don't think it'll be a washout. Take an umbrella with you, go outside and enjoy yourselves anyway. Good spring weather, and tomorrow when the storms move through, we'll keep you up to date. You can follow us on Twitter or on Facebook, or wherever you want to go, folks. We're going to be there. WHSV.com weather prompts.
Everything online.
You got it.
Thanks, George. Well, a successful surgery for conjoined twins. What the medical team who worked for hours is saying about the little girls tonight.
But first, a juicy burger sounds good right about now. I'm a little hungry. What a new study says about fast food items and calorie counting. And of course, you can always join the conversation. We would love to hear from you right there on your screen. Ways you can reach Allison and I on Facebook and Twitter. We have new details tonight about the failed terror plot to attack a passenger train traveling from New York to Toronto.
One suspect makes his first court appearance in Toronto. The other will be tomorrow, but in Montreal. Wendy Gillette explains what's happening right now.
One of the men suspected of planning to derail a passenger train heading from New York to Toronto made his first appearance in a Toronto court today. The other will appear before a judge in Montreal tomorrow.
He denies the allegations and he will vigorously defend them.
Law enforcement officials say the suspects intended to plant bombs to destroy the tracks, derailing Canada's VIA trains. The system partners with Amtrak to provide service between Canada and New York's Penn Station, a route used by 4 million people every year. The men had allegedly gone as far as conducting surveillance on trains in the Toronto area.
It was definitely in the planning stage, but not imminent.
The FBI and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security assisted Canadian law enforcement officers with their investigation. They say the two men, ages 30 and 35, from Tunisia and the United Arab Emirates, had support from al-Qaeda members in Iran. It's the first plot tied to al-Qaeda to target Canada.
If al-Qaeda operatives were to carry out a truly disastrous terrorist attack somewhere in the world, somewhere in the West, somewhere in the United States, and it were traced back to al-Qaeda in Iran, then that could provoke hostilities.
Iran's foreign minister disputes the claim, saying there's no firm evidence the men are tied to al-Qaeda operatives in the country, and that Iran opposes any terrorist or violent actions.
Sources tell ABC News the investigation was launched following tips from the Muslim community. Authorities began watching the two men last August. Wendy Gillette, ABC News, New York.
Investigators say this foiled plot has no connection to the Boston Marathon bombings last week.
We're checking in on your health tonight. Many fast food restaurants list the calorie count of their menu items. That does look really good. But a new study suggests listing the amount of time it takes to burn off those calories is a better idea. Researchers found that if consumers are aware of the number of minutes they'd have to exercise to work off the calories they are eating, they are more likely to order lower calorie options, so get in the gym. Now, new at 11, 6-month-old conjoined twins from Franklin are in stable condition tonight after a 14-hour operation to surgically separate them. Doctors at Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU say the surgery included the division of the girl's liver. The twins were joined at the chest and abdomen. The medical team is very optimistic the twins will have a full and complete recovery. A traffic cop is turning heads while drivers are changing lanes. Look at him. Hear who he's channeling in his dance moves while chasing a smooth criminal.
But first, hear why this toddler is due in court.
Now to 3 stories, all new at 11. Some criminals are known for having a baby face.
But this story, it's something else. Take a look. Earlier this month, Ashley Arlecan received a subpoena to appear in court in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The problem is, well, Ashley, she's 19 months old. Her father was a little shocked when the deputy came to the door with some paperwork.
And his look on his face was like, are you sure there's no one else by the name of Ashley? And I go, there she is, Ashley Triana Alarcon. And he was like, I have a subpoena for her too to appear in court.
Well, taking no chances, he called the district attorney's office. They assured him, though, it was an error.
How does that
happen? I don't know.
All right, a traffic cop borrows moves from Michael Jackson. Now, this thriller of a traffic cop just wants to rock with you. I hope you got that. Drivers in Thailand get to enjoy the Michael Jackson moves of this construction worker while he directs traffic. He's pretty good there. He's been busting a move for the past 3 years, cheering up drivers in heavy traffic. You can just call him the king of traffic cops.
King of traffic cops.
Is that a little corny?
I like it.
Sorry.
Yes.
Take a look at this. It's the catch of a lifetime. 19-year-old Sterling Ellis reeled in this massive marlin during his Make-A-Wish Foundation trip to Hawaii. Ellis is in remission from Hodgkin's lymphoma. Weighing in at 759 pounds, the 11-foot-long fish gave him a run for his money.
Yeah, my arm hurt a little bit, and he's like, I'll just keep reeling. I'm like, I don't think I can.
He was a little tired, and that was half the battle was bringing it back in the boat.
I would be tired too. After more than an hour, Ellis hauled in the fish with some helping hands.
What a catch.
An hour.
I can tell you guys are getting ready for sports because you had some fun stories.
Yeah. Well, you're fun.
Oh,
so.
thanks.